Good morning. I was thinking there was a spot for a reading in here, but there isn't, so I'll read it now and then I'll slide right into my talk. This comes from a friend of mine who's a screenwriter out in LA, and he posts on Facebook brilliantly and often. And he posted this a while back, and it really settled into my mind. You know, I so love the Harry Potter series. My daughter Olivia was the same age as Harry, and she grew up with the books. They gave both her and her sister Izzy a lifelong love of reading, and for that I am forever grateful. Neither of my daughters will watch the new series because of J.K. Rowling's despicable rantings on the trans community. The other day, I read about an interview with David Mamet, a playwright I dearly love, where he professed his support of Trump and his policies. Tomorrow is the anniversary of Jackson Pollock's death. It is also the anniversary of the death of Edith Metzger, the 25-year-old girl who died begging a drunken Pollock to let her out of the car. What do we do with this? I keep thinking of the term cultural suicide when I think of the long list of great artists whose work enriched all human history, who either held despicable views or did despicable things. Dali, Coco Chanel, P.G. Wodehouse, and Ezra Pound were all supporters of Hitler. Henry Ford paid for the first American printing of Mein Kampf. Even Walt Disney had questionable sympathies leading up to our involvement in World War II. We talk about burning books, but if we hold historic arts figures to a modern conception of enlightenment, are we doing the same? I have no idea why the universe often channels our most brilliant beings into such damaged vessels. There is no pattern or formula. Producing any artist is a Byzantine map of billions of impulses and traits, some nature, some nurture. My mantra has always been, brilliance has a price. And the price is knowing that who you are to the world is a creation outside of your control. Two things can be true at once. Harvey Weinstein is a monster. I think we all can agree about that. Harvey Weinstein was crucial to the process that created some of the greatest films of the last 40 years. That is also true. Do these two truths cancel each other out? Is it possible that the essence of what allowed Weinstein to be chosen to channel such a massive contribution to society is a combination of both? If Charles Dickens had been born to a happy, prosperous family, would he ever have written Oliver Twist? Certainly now, looking back on Dickens' childhood, would we not agree that such poverty and abuse was abhorrent? If we could go back and rescue a child from what he suffered, who would not? But if giving Dickens a happy childhood would rob the world of A Christmas Carol or Great Expectations, is that still a just trade? Without Dickens' personal ability to enlighten us to suffering, would it have ended? It is important to keep in mind the only reason why we know who Harvey Weinstein is, or Pollock, or Picasso, or Dali, or any of them, is because of their gifts. Good people who lead quiet lives are seldom famous. The question is, who owns the significant, enriching art that was channeled through these damaged people as an expression of what we all were feeling at the moment? I truly believe once an artist puts a work into the world, it is no longer theirs. The matter that art is made is from all of us, and its being, once shared, is only a product of our own artistic process. So once the work is made, regardless of who made it, who owns it? Once we read the first words, Harry Potter belonged to us as much as he belonged to J.K. Rowling. Also keep this in mind. If you take a stance and say something like, I am boycotting the Cosby Show, remember you are also tossing out the thousands of other people who contributed to that show. This brings up another question that keeps going through my mind, so I think it's significant. Considering behavior that we now deem to be abhorrent and how we deal with historical figures associated with such behavior, what is it we want? Justice or vengeance? Justice, to me, is the righting of a communal wrong. Vengeance is retribution for a personal wrong. Justice might be making sure every baby has clean water. Vengeance ends with a baby going down the drain. No matter who is in charge of the baby, the tub, or the water, art is what we have to understand and make sense of all. It's precious. Think carefully. So those are Rodney's words. Before I start the rest of this, I want to tell you that I will sometimes refer specifically to a writer, a painter, or a composer. But when I use the word artist, I'm encompassing all who make art in all forms. My friend Rodney Vaccaro posted his thoughts about art and artists a couple of months ago. I've been thinking about the implications ever since. First off, I agree with Rodney. Any art that goes out into the world, and anything from famous artists of the past centuries to up-and-coming touted artists of today, to something you saw in Art Prize, to a song on the radio, to even unattributed street art. Any art exhibited publicly has left the artist's mind and studio and become of the world. When J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter series, she was a vessel for ideas and characters and words. The finished stories are now of the world. Yes, she still earns money for creating those characters, and yes, she will make even more money each time her stories are used for something new. And yes, we can cause her harm by boycotting her stories and their various expressions in television or film. And yes, if we do that, we miss out on the fun, creative experience of Harry Potter. Many years ago, I had been dating a man for a while. I was talking with a friend about wishing there were more happening in the relationship. She stated something that I think is a little outdated now, but it used to be common. Why would he pay for the cow when he can get the milk for free? Some of you are familiar with that phrase. Meaning, of course, that I could withhold something in order to manipulate the relationship. I thought about this for about 2 seconds, realizing that if I had the same investment in all the aspects of the relationship as he did, withholding from him meant withholding from myself, and that was not workable. If I threw out all the benefits of the relationship because of one aspect that wasn't pleasing to me in the moment, I lost as much as the other person. If I throw out the art because of the artist's point of view on politics or religion or whatever, I have negated the experience of that art in my life. And that art might have had a profound effect on something in me that is totally unrelated to the politics of the artist. I completely disagree with Rowling's take on transgender people and their place in the world. I think she is ignorant, not stupid, not an idiot, ignorant of an experience of the world that none of us can have unless we have grown up inside the wrong body or been very close to someone else who has lived this experience. If I were to pray, I would pray that Rowling have a lived event that helps her see a broader perspective. And yet, I accept that she speaks from her understanding of the world. I have no need to punish her, and I have no need to punish myself by setting aside her work. In a few years, when I have the opportunity to share the Harry Potter books with my granddaughter, I will tell her about the controversy surrounding the author. By that time, perhaps things will have changed. Either way, it will give us a chance to talk about transgender people and others who are outside of the mainstream. And I will suggest that as we read, we see whether we notice anything about Rowling's perspective coming through in the stories. Perhaps this is one way to approach all controversial art or controversial artists. First, what do we see, hear, and understand from the piece as it is? Next, what do we know about the artist and how accurate is our information? Third, does the artist's perspective affect our experience of the piece? We can dive more deeply into the world of art, music, and literature by asking ourselves these questions. Usually when I read fiction, I'm experiencing it on a fairly superficial level. I'm reading the story. Do I like the characters? Is what they're doing interesting? Do they interact well together? Nonfiction requires more integration with the material, the learning of facts, the gleaning of the author's ideas. Still, unless it's on a social or political topic, I rarely stop to ask myself how the author's political perspective is affecting me, what their life views are, or how their views affect what they've presented. When I was an English major in college, we did delve into some of these things, but most people don't. And now, today, we have become reactive rather than curious. If we dig deeper, we have the opportunity for a more profound adventure with art. Rodney asks us to consider how an artist's life experience becomes art. He wonders, as I do, if Charles Dickens had been born to a happy, prosperous family, would he ever have written Oliver Twist? I had a boyfriend in college who submitted himself to all kinds of deprivation, believing that he could not create anything really good unless he was suffering at some level. Suffice it to say that while many artists have suffered, there are also people who create beautiful and moving art without starving in a rat-infested garret. The artist, the art, the audience. I'm an artist. I write music, and I create things from fibers. Some of it has made it into the public sphere. Most of it has a specific audience and intent, and as such is not likely to be judged by those for whom it was not intended. As our world grows smaller and smaller, though, everyone's YouTube video is available to millions of viewers. If I put one of my projects on YouTube, people will question my values. Some will argue and take offense. It's a given. Back at Easter 2023, Fountain Street Senior Minister Christopher Rowe, in bringing the story of Good Friday and the message of hope embodied in Easter into the present day, said the following words: I want to take us back about a year ago this very time, as rumors swirled around all of us that the Supreme Court might, in fact, overturn reproductive rights and freedoms once enshrined under Roe versus Wade. And as the rumors turned into a verified leak, and the verified leak turned into a fateful Friday in which the Supreme Court indeed confirmed our greatest fears, it felt like yet another Good Friday in America. It felt like the empire under which we live had pushed back against its people, simply trying to experience the wholeness of our humanity. And it felt like all of us were in Mary Magdalene's position, trepidatiously going to the tomb, lingering by the empty tomb, and uncertain of what we might find next. Because of our increasing exposure to people we don't know on social media, Reverend Christopher experienced something that more and more people do. His words were excerpted and passed from one angry viewer to another, and many responded by leaving voicemails and emails that were threatening and disturbing. I can only assume that Reverend Rowe's use of the parables of Good Friday and Easter in the context of reproductive freedom made people afraid. People who are chronically afraid want to make other people afraid. It gives them a sense of power and control. One more illustration of separating the artist from the work. Richard Wagner is regarded as one of history's treasured composers, yet some will not listen to his works because Adolf Hitler appropriated Wagner's music. Hitler saw in it something that he liked. This is from an AI compilation. Adolf Hitler admired Richard Wagner's work for a number of reasons, primarily because he saw the composer as a kindred spirit whose work encapsulated and inspired his own nationalistic and racist ideologies. He was obsessed with Wagner's music from a young age and appropriated it for Nazi propaganda. In addition, as an outspoken anti-Semite, Wagner's anti-Semitic writings and perceived anti-Jewish caricatures in his operas resonated with Hitler. The Nazis used this ideological link to claim Wagner as an early exponent of their racist worldview. Would Wagner have endorsed Hitler's ideas and actions? We can never know, because Wagner died about 50 years before Hitler came to power. In this case, Wagner's worldview was a plus to Hitler, and the music reflected, in his opinion, that worldview. But before I knew anything about Wagner, the man, I loved his music and admired the stories he used for his operas. So why do we humans find ourselves wanting to ignore relevant, interesting, thought-provoking art because of the artist's views? I suspect we are afraid of that which we don't understand. We see this in so much of our media, social and otherwise, and in everyday interactions with people who, like us, are increasingly afraid of the world. If I am uneasy or even afraid of points of view I don't understand, the easiest way to deal with them is to negate them. I won't ever see that movie. How can you read anything by her knowing what she has said? I can't support anything that man does. Think of the many people for whom the actual destruction of art and literature provides a catharsis for pent-up fear and anger. Blame the artist. Destroy the art. The threat is neutralized. If I don't encounter what this person has created, I don't need to think about who they are. And if I don't encounter art that challenges me, I don't have to think about who I am either. I needn't risk having a fearful realization that I too have abhorrent beliefs or ignorance around a subject having to do with my fellow humans. How ashamed might I feel of sharing a perspective with an artist whose views are suspect? How much guilt could I have about the dark corners of my own ideas and ideals? It is so much easier to dismiss the outside threat. Of course, we're not going to burn books. Others may still read them, but we won't buy them, no matter what the stories. We won't support that person with those beliefs. And every day, those people, artists or neighbors or strangers, those people we don't understand because we haven't talked to them and gotten to know them, post things that are scary and that feel horrible to us. And honestly, in retaliation, my people post equally horrific things about them. And we grow further and further and further apart, increasingly more afraid of one another and what they might do. When we look in the mirror, do we see the whole human being? When we look at one another, do we? When we view a YouTube video or some other bit of information or entertainment on social media, can we open our hearts and minds to the whole story? Are we willing to take the time to investigate further? Just as with the art and artist, can we separate the human being and their convictions? Could that person, whether artist or neighbor or stranger, be just as vulnerable and worried as I am? Behind their social media messages or artistic expressions, could they be wondering the same about me? And can the fear that I've nurtured be turned into love so that I can contribute in a positive way to a varied and broken world? Can we accept that which we don't understand, that with which we disagree? Accept that simply by existing, something has validity. Can we develop the grace to accept those things within ourselves that we don't understand and perhaps disdain? May we learn to do these things. May it be so. Blessed be.
Our last hymn is May I Be Light. It will be up there on your screen. We have a new resource through the UUA called the Online Virtual Hymnal. So instead of printing another book with new songs, they have this evolving hymnal that's online that I have access to, thanks to some wonderful benefactors at our church. Thank you, that let us subscribe to that. So this is our first song from this online hymnal, May I Be Light, and I just wanted to read you a little bit about the composer. It's Reverend Michael O'Neill Slack. He is the community minister for worship and spiritual care for Black Lives of Youism, an organization and growing spiritual community that provides support, resources, and care for Black UUs across the diaspora. He is also one of the co-founders of the Transforming Hearts Collective, an organizing ministry that helps to both co-create spaces of healing and spiritual resiliency for queer and trans non-binary folks, and resource congregations in the work of radical welcome and culture shift. So this is his piece. We have composers from all over the country submitting hymns and music to this resource, so it's nice for us to be able to use this. I'll play it through for you once so you can hear how it goes, and then we'll sing it through 3 times together.
It's in the bowl. Thank you. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Poised as we are at any given moment upon the precipice of change, may we find ourselves filled with curiosity rather than certainty. May we be in community rather than insulated, and may we always see the potential for growth within us and love and appreciate ourselves for it. Blessed be.
the difference. Yes, I will make the difference against all odds. I can live to share my love with others. Yes, I will make the difference. I can make it. Take my hand as we make this journey across the land.
I'm the one who can make the difference. Yes, I will make the difference against all odds. I can live to share my love with others. Yes, I will make the difference. I will make it. Take my hand as we make this journey across the land. I have the courage to keep going on. I have the faith when all hope was gone. I have the strength to keep holding on. I can make the difference. I can make the difference. I can make the difference. Yes, I can. 'Cause I'm the one who can make the difference. Yes, I will make the difference against all odds. I can live to share my love with others. Yes, I will make the difference. I will make it. Take my hand as we make this journey across the land. We're the ones who can make the difference. Yes, we will make the difference against all odds. We can live to share our love with others. Yes, we will make the difference. We can make it. Take my hand as we make this journey across the land. We will make the difference across the land. We will make the difference across the land. We will make the difference. We will make it. Take my hand.
I want to thank everybody who helped make today's service happen. Thank you so much to the choir. Thank you for our tech folk. We have Jones and Robin. And thanks to everyone who cooked today. We are now going to have our potluck and hopefully continue some of the conversations that stimulated our mind with today's message.